Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would very much like to continue on with the 31 days of gangster films and cop films or police films from the year 1970 to the present day. And so my hope is that that will afford us, you and I, my dear friends, with the opportunity to discuss as many films as possible, again, over the course of these 31 days. And so I'm looking forward to continuing on this journey with you, my dear friends. And along the way, or one of the stops along the way on that particular 31 days journey, is the stop that we are making today for purposes of this video, and specifically in the context of the police or cop film genre or subgenre. And I have chosen today a work from 1995, or it's described as being from 1995. And it is a film that I think, like many films that we have discussed so far, or that we will discuss in the future during these 31 days, I think this is a film that might be said to be classified, or could be classified, in either of such genres. Namely, I think from a certain point of view, one could look at it as being an example of the gangster crime film. And then from another point of view, one can look at it as being an example of the police cop saga film, etc. And so maybe, if you'll permit me, I would like to adopt the latter approach or latter interpretation, with the understanding that, of course, this film, like many other films that we have discussed, could be subject to potentially multiple interpretations. But again, for purposes of today, let's consider this film as an example of the police or cop film. And I think that is very much part of the case because it has as one of its primary components police officer or cop characters that are engaged in investigations of serious crimes, and specifically serious crimes that have taken place in the city of Los Angeles, in California, in the United States. And they are on one side of the coin, which is part of this film. The other side of the coin of this film has to do with the characters that are the criminals, that are the thieves, that are the people that are part of a group or a crew that are committing these high stakes thefts. And it's up to the police to try to track them down and stop them and protect the society at large from this criminal element. So it is, I think, in many respects, a very traditional and quite a brilliant example of, for lack of a better phrase, the cops and robbers genre. But it does have, as I say, as one of the primary components of that, the police cop characters. And so let us talk about it in the context of the police genre today. Now, I am talking about, as I say, a film described as being from 1995. And so this is a film that has an incredible cast, included in which are, for example, Ashley Judd, Wes Studi, Val Kilmer, Amy Brenneman, and also it has at the very top Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. This is the work that is from the filmmaker Michael Mann, and the name of this work is Heat. Heat is a crime saga epic from the 1990s that is one of the most exciting film experiences I've had going to the movie theater. This was in mid-90s, and so I remember seeing this in the theater when it was initially released, and I was, simply put, I was blown away by this story. I mean, it was an epic story about, as they say, cops and robbers, about police and the criminals that they are investigating and trying to apprehend. The police characters being, of course, portrayed by Al Pacino and company, Vincent Hanna, And his prey, as it were, the criminals that he is trying to apprehend, led of course by the Robert De Niro character, who is the Neil Macaulay character. And so it is a game of cat and mouse, of target and being targeted. It is about the investigators and the investigated. It is about the prey and the hunters. And it is also about those roles being reversed and switched along the way, and these clever jousts and these wonderful exchanges between the characters on both sides of the law, the quote unquote the characters that are enforcing the law and the characters that are breaking the law, and each has its own set of emotional circumstances. There are motivations that are at play. Family life, love life is also, personal lives are also a part of the equations for a lot of the character dynamics that we are examining over the course of this epic running time. And included in which are the personal and very secret and private lives of the main characters, the Al Pacino character and the Robert De Niro character, respectively, Vincent Hanna and Neil Macaulay. And we see them in their quote-unquote element, playing the game, and also we see them in their off time. And we see, too, that maybe the chaos and the disruption of their lives while they are playing the game is inescapable, even when they are trying to have some downtime or private time with their family or loved ones, or perhaps in a state of solitude, as the case may be for certain characters. So that sense of epic sweep of this film, while also being in many ways a type of really sharp personal drama in a lot of respects, makes for, I think, a really fascinating combination and cocktail that is shook up in the hands of the director Michael Mann in this container. And when it's let loose, it is presented with all these elements intact, while at the same time presenting in a way that is a sprawling LA crime saga epic from the 1990s, complete with the neo-noir, neon-lit exteriors and the cool, dim interiors, and the sunshine of the fading sun giving way to a bleak world that is also modern as well as desolate. It's a world that is cool as well as welcoming. It is also cold as well as warm. It is also filled with life and vibrancy, as well as filled with chaos and potential destruction. And these counters, these extremes, are also exemplified in the extremes of, quote unquote, the cops and the robbers, Vincent Hanna and Neil Macaulay. And when these extremes collide in the various forms that they do collide over the course of this film, stand back and hold on to your chairs, or fasten your safety belts, whatever the metaphor of your choice you have, because you are in for one heck of a ride indeed. There are fireworks galore. There are explosive bursts of energy galore. And those explosive bursts of energy throughout the course of Heat come in many forms and many guises. For example, this is a crime film, and this is a crime film that has many characters, many moving parts, many subplots, and oftentimes those subplots can involve bursts of violence, these incredibly intense and brilliantly staged set pieces of action and heists and suspense and gunfire and sudden confrontations between the criminals and the police, and shootouts and the like. And this is really high intense stuff. And so that is one way in which the clash or the collisions of the two extremes, when it occurs, one of the ways in which it can occur is through these high intensity action set pieces that are truly, truly intense indeed. And another way that this type of clash or collision can occur is also through the way in which the characters collide and confront each other. And sometimes that collision or confrontation can be in the form of, say, a type of physical fight, or some kind of struggle that involves physicality or gunfire, etc. Or it could involve dialogue, and it could involve sitting across from the other person face to face, maybe over a cup of coffee, and just sitting and talking. And that is one of the brilliant aspects of a film like Heat, and Michael Mann and his film and his this crime saga with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro leading the way, as it were, because we have that opportunity. We see Al Pacino on screen, we see Robert De Niro on screen, and they each represent a type of yin and yang poles. Where and when will they meet? That is part of the tension. That is part of the fun. That is part of the appeal of this great film Heat. And when they do collide, it is in many ways a type of iconic thing that is happening before our very eyes. It is like a master class of acting. It is also like a type of who's who of sort of in the pantheon of late 20th century great actors. It is also, of course, playing or riffing on their legacies, each of them in the crime film genre, dating back from the 1970s, 1980s into the 1990s. So each has his own stake, his own legacy in these particular genres, whether they be in films that are connected with each other or not. Here is one of those films where they are connected to each other, so there has that type of legacy and depth to it, as well as being in the hands of De Niro and Pacino, in the hands of these actors who can really turn characters that are so operatic and Shakespearean, and also bringing them down to earth and very intimate and subtle and nuanced. They can be bold and explosive. They can also be subtle and quiet, almost to the point of there can be fireworks between them just with a single silent glance, a single silent look, eye contact between them as I say, they're sitting in a diner drinking a cup of coffee. So this is a true dynamite film on in every step of the way, and it is a crime saga film whose subplots and secondary characters also hold with them such grace, and also such suspense, and such vulnerability, as well as being so engaging and dramatic and very human. And even the characters that have maybe a limited screen time, their screen time is also very felt along the way. And this film Heat is a film that has such a solid foundation that its echoes and its vibrations and influence can be felt even to this present day. Now, I have to say too that this film is from mid 90s, and I may have mentioned that I had seen this in the theater when it was initially released. It was one of the most exciting cinema experiences that I had. I remember there were some scenes where I could feel, because of the sound of some of the action set pieces, I could feel the ground beneath me shake and tremble. Like it's almost like, and also the walls of the theater were trembling and vibrating, because there was this atmosphere and vibe and energy that was just pulsating through the theater at the time. And that vibe and the pulsating electricity was truly magnetic. And it was just so, the voltage was extreme to the max when we had scenes of De Niro and Pacino. It was and is amazing. What an amazing experience that was to be able to see this in the theater. I count myself very fortunate to have been able to do so. I'll never forget that. And that is, I think, one of the main reasons why, even to this day, I mean, it feels like a film that I saw yesterday. And it feels so modern, and so rugged, and also so composed, and also very chaotic, while at the same time having an almost transcendental nature to it in the tranquility of some of the scenes, which is again going back to the way in which this is a yin and yang film. This is a film of balance, of differing themes, differing extreme intensities, and all the while that combination or clash or confrontation between and among those extremities is cause for a reason why this film Heat has so many of the exciting, pulsating points that it has, combined in this thoroughly engaging work. The music is intense and amazing. The performances are intense and amazing. Everything about this film is an intense and amazing experience. What an experience this is. If you haven't seen this film yet, I strongly, strongly urge you to do so. You are in for one heck of a ride indeed. As I say, fasten your safety belts because things are going to tremble, things are going to vibrate, the electricity is going to be off the charts in terms of its voltage. And I know you're going to have a grand time watching this film. And this is with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. This is the work from Michael Mann. This is Heat. Okay, my dear friends, so that's it for now. And so until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well. And please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. I very, very much appreciate it. Stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.